What's up, everyone? This is Bacon, and today we have the first Hypogene Awakened hero, Maetria. She is in the game, and honestly, she's looking pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not talking about her design, even though I think the design is pretty cool. I'm not talking about her just kit overall. They've really buffed her in pretty much every sense. I was just comparing the numbers from Classic to Companions, and every stat, every skill, everything is pretty much buffed from what I can see. So she's gonna be a reckoning, I think, with companions. The unfortunate thing is she is an awakened hero, which means you need 5 ascended hypogenes, which most people do not have. Now, before I get into that though, let's go ahead and just take a look. You'll be able to get her from the library. And if you go here, you can see that I almost have enough to get her. By clicking unlock, you can see I almost have 5 ascended hypogenes. Just kidding, I am nowhere near it, so I will not be getting her, unfortunately, even though I really wish I could. She looks so cool, but unfortunately, I'm just not there yet. I feel like at this point in the game, it's like you have to decide, okay, do you want an awakened hypogene or do you want an awakened celestial? And you just kind of have to commit because I've already committed to, my celestials. I've got one, and I've got these guys. I'm a little close, sort of. And I feel like if I just switch now to hypogenes, by the time I actually can have enough for her, it's just not going to be worth it, unfortunately. So, but if you have enough, you can unlock her here. If you are a new player and you want to focus on hypogenes, that is okay. Just keep in mind, if you kind of split up between celestials and hypogenes, it will make it so you're probably not going to get either for a very long time unless you are spending. Now, I also want to mention one thing. You should get this diamond bag for free. You can use it and you get free diamonds. Well, I didn't see what I actually got. I just skipped it. And then there's also the event. Where's that? Limited offers. This is where you get your free diamonds. You can also pay money to get a chest for a single hero. Hypogene hero, automatically get them, which is cool. 15 bucks is kind of a lot, but it's cheaper than what you would have to spend for the stargazing cards, from what I understand. And then you also get more stuff here. So you basically get the $15 worth here, and then you get this stuff here. And then you can keep going and getting more stargazing. So, I mean, if you want to drop, what is it, like $150, you might be able to get kind of close to getting one hypogene hero built up. But that's really about it. You're going to have to really invest a lot of time and money into it to get her, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and just take a look at her, because I know some people do have her, or they are spenders, or they're just kind of curious to see how they work. So Maetria, not sure if I'm saying that right, is a mage hero. She is continuous damage, so she's going to be cranking out damage. And her whole kind of kit is based around these flames. So you see these flames, she will kind of do AoE damage, set people on fire, and then kind of spread her flames to other people. She has a little bit of debuffs in her kit as well. And then she actually has a thing similar to Taylene, where if she dies, she kind of turns into a flame and then resurrects later on, terrifying people and doing damage. And so she does have a little bit of a cool kind of factor there. You can't use that if she is on the same team as Taylene, which is kind of funny. It's just like Companions or AFK Arena in general is not a game where you normally have those kind of interactions. But for some reason, and I'm sure there's a lore purpose, her and Taylene do not get along. And so that's kind of how she works. I'm not going to go over every single detail, but this is her ultimate ability. She does a lot of AoE damage here. And then you can just see there's just a lot of more jargon. I'll let you guys read that. I'm kind of straying away from getting onto the weeds, because I know you all can read this, and so I don't want to bore you guys to death. But one thing that's interesting is her awakened passive. So all awakened heroes, if you're not aware, have this passive that only will apply in a formation for one awakened hero. You can't put all 3, 4, 5 awakened heroes together and have 5 different of these passives. You can only pick one. And what this one does, it basically turns all non-dimensionals and celestial heroes into hypogenes, so you get the faction bonus, and then you also do bonus damage against celestials. So she really is kind of a, I don't know if I'd call her a celestial killer, but she really kind of capitalizes on that effectiveness against celestials, and also gives your team that faction bonus. And all that stuff. So that's kind of a fun little passive. I think it makes creating a team with her easier versus her being like the lone hypogene. But I also don't think the faction bonuses are insanely important. Like in competitive PvP, yes, they do matter, but there's sometimes really weird comps that just work that have no faction bonuses. But this is her kind of resurrection ability. This is where if she dies, she'll come back and terrifying. I don't know why these aren't available and there's no divine effects. Seems like they kind of stopped releasing heroes like this, but I guess for this one, they're doing something. This is a really long description. It's basically she's using her flames to set people on fire, drains their energy, debuffs, and then spreads their flames. And then this is an interesting ability, and I'll show you in a second what this looks like. But whenever a hero's health falls below 15%, they become fuel for the Solarian Furnace, and a 7-second countdown begins. The hero dies when the countdown ends, and this effect can only be triggered once for each hero. And so she'll absorb 50 energy per second from the hero. After the effect hero dies, they leave behind a smoldering flame that deals damage equal to 130% of her attack rating to nearby units. And when the skill is used against the boss, it will deal one off damage to the boss equal to 1000%. And so you notice here it says whenever hero's health, this applies to allies and enemies. And so this is a really interesting ability where basically if someone reaches 15% or lower, they will kind of become a sacrifice to her flame and give her buffs and yada yada and do damage. So kind of a fun little ability skill there. Let's go ahead and take a look here though. We'll do this. So I want to show you that ability. I want to show you what she does in general, but that one's kind of funny. So I'm going to turn this off, make it slow. Look at him. He just... Okay, I don't know where the frick he went. Well, normally there's like a little clock thing that goes above them. And then they turn into flames eventually. So I think that's what happened with these two over here. But here's her kind of ultimate ability. Pretty cool animation. Kaboom, blast everyone. And there you go. So, kind of got to see that, but that wasn't a good example. But unfortunately, when she did that once, it's done. Here you can kind of see what she does just by herself. You're going to see this animation a million times because it's just going to keep going. But she is a pretty heavy damage dealer. She's good in campaign. Forked Fates. You can make some really good teams with her and Taylene on 2 separate waves in Forked Fate. She obviously... Actually, I don't know if she'd be good at the Forked Fate because she kind of self-kills allies, so I'm curious how that interaction would work. I would assume it wouldn't matter that you would just win by then, but maybe not. Who knows? I could see some weird kind of anti Forked Fate stuff in there, but who knows? But she's good with Tower. If there were a Hypogene Tower, she's good with, I would assume she'd probably be good on an Arena team. I'm not really sure what that team might look like, but I could see her definitely fitting in with like a Hypogene team or some combination of some other team with her and like 1 or 2 other Hypogenes. I think overall, those who have her are going to be the whales. I rarely see an Awakened Taylene, and so I think it's going to be the same with her, that there's not going to be very many of her around. But I do think she's going to kind of push people to really focus on Hypogenes to get her, because I just think she's a really cool hero. I think she'll be pretty meta for a while. So I'm curious to see if the devs are going to continue making it really hard for people to get Celestials and Hypogenes, or if they're going to be a little more generous. They're having a little lower price things like the event I showed you earlier, but still for the average player, this is a long time away that you'll be getting her. But that's Maetria. I think she's cool. Excited to see what kind of comps people are using. Hoping I can borrow her from some people in my clan for a few different things, or maybe my partner in a campaign will get her. I don't know. But we'll see. I'm excited to kind of see what that looks like. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. There's a few other things I want to make videos on, so make sure you stay tuned for other things. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.